this
That's
is what I
right.
need. Can you help me? You know, how can we work through this? What can we do about it? And I guess
That's
that
right.
also is a great benefit to the employer at that stage, that the employee hasn't just hidden it away.
No, and money doesn't have to be heavy. Those conversations don't have to be heavy. Even you can even talk about that, that monthly topic could be around debt, and it can be light. We don't want to make fun of it. We don't want to laugh it off, but let's make it light. Let's just bring it down to the numbers, right? And normalize it.
Yeah. Yeah. Great stuff. Great stuff. Okay. Now, obviously, we may well actually have some listeners and some people who may well pick this up on a replay who will actually recognize themselves as being the employee for the purpose of the conversation that we're actually having at the moment. So if that's the case, are there any simple sort of self-help steps that they could take to get started? Obviously, we've just talked about the idea they could approach their employer or their contract head, whatever it might be to them. But yes, some simple first steps maybe. What support do they really need? Is self-help practical? Do they really need external help and accountability perhaps?
It depends on the individual, right? Like I'd love to sit here and say, well, just get a budget together, duh.
Because sticking to it, quite a different thing.
Yeah. Because that works for everybody. I mean, it's like a diet, so many people get their budgets in place and then don't do anything with it because there is that emotional piece to it. So I would suggest that if someone is feeling, for example, someone's feeling like they just can't keep on top of their numbers, that yes, working toward creating a spending plan and sticking to it is fabulous, but there needs to be some exploration before doing that. And so it depends on the person. Do you like to read? Well, then I would highly recommend reading Financial Recovery just to prime yourself to working toward getting the numbers in place for you. Do you like to listen to podcasts? Great. Find some good money podcasts with some episodes about what to do when you're coming out of a money crisis, right? And then there's also videos. There's lots of TV shows. So what most of those resources are going to take you to is probably some self-reflection. How did you get here? Some people will encourage you to write your money story. As a coach, I don't encourage my clients to do a whole bunch of delving backward. If they tend to be stuck there, I actually will refer them to a therapist instead, because they have the skills and the knowledge to help people, break from a lot of those traumas that they've had with money. But writing your money story, if you don't feel too triggered by it, is very helpful because you can understand, you'll start seeing where the patterns have emerged. And then you'll be more gentle with yourself. And then you can get to the place of, okay, so I've done this. What do I want now? What do I want? Where do I want to go? And start setting some very short-term goals that will likely be achievable. And that's where the budget comes in. So doing some self-reflection, you're going to serve yourself so well, figuring out where those patterns are coming from, how you're feeling about money now. That will prime you to move forward for sure. Sometimes people have money, but they're still super stressed. I've had clients like that. They're like, I'm always worrying about money and I have like hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank. So that might be where some therapy can help, or coaching as well. Some people don't have goals for their money either. So setting some goals, realistic goals, and some longer term goals that still, are fairly realistic will be very helpful too, and help you start looking forward rather than staying in the spiral or falling back. It's hard to give. I can't give one general piece of advice because it depends on.
We're all different,
right? They're all different. Yeah. The first step is admitting that something is not that you have a problem, but that something is concerning you. That's the first step. See if you can help yourself. If you can't, there are so many people out there who are ready to help you, whether it's advisors, coaches, therapists.
That's the thing, isn't it? And that is, I wrote this the other day for something as an aside, but this idea that there is a world of support out there, whatever you need support with.
Yeah.
It's actually just getting to the point where you work out support is the thing that you really need.
Yeah.
Because there are plenty of people who can help.
Yes. Yes.
But
And I will say, Jason, that before I entered the world of coaching, I was very much a toddler. I'm going to do it myself. I've always been able to figure it out myself. I don't want to ask for help. And it just doesn't serve us. We get so much more out of life when we find the right people who want to support us and whom we can give that mutual support back to.
Most definitely. Now, seeing as you mentioned the budget thing, I did notice that you actually have a course called Beyond the Budget. Now, part of my brain at the moment is saying to me, the way that you talked about budget then is exactly why your course is called Beyond the Budget. Because as you say, it is, I'm presuming it to be the premise of, yes, you can write one, but what are you actually going to do with it once you've written it? So can you tell us a bit about what's involved with that course and the sentiment behind it?
Sure. Yeah. So you're bang on. I created that course. It's getting control over your finances beyond the budget. So you have this budget, but what is it that you actually want out of life, and how can your budget or your spending plan support that? How can you create your own goals that have nothing to do with what your parents think you should do, what society's telling you, what the Joneses are doing down the street, right? What is it that you want? And how can you create a budget that's going to help you achieve those goals? And how can you find enjoyment in life outside of money? You know, when we were coming out of our money crisis, I had two young children, two young girls, and very often we were going out to eat. We were doing things that cost money, and we're done. We're packing our snacks and we're going to the park or we're going to the beach or we're going somewhere. We're not going to go out and buy that. Even at that point, even ice creams or coffee for myself, we weren't doing that anymore. And what I found is, oh my gosh, I was actually having more fun with life because I had less things. I was not relying so much on the happiness that comes from buying stuff, and really enjoying getting outdoors. That's huge for me and my family, getting outdoors. That's where we really start enjoying life, and making music as well.
So I'm going to come on to music in a minute from a completely different angle, but I'll get there. Don't worry. So I'm presuming then that one of the gains that you see as people go through this course with you is this idea that one of the words that cropped up in my mind as you were talking then was this idea about how we become far more innovative when we have to be, when we start to re-engineer and we become more creative with, as you say, how we learn to enjoy things. It doesn't always have to be a money triggered thing that we go and do. There are plenty of other things that we can do. We just actually have to not be, I will almost say, so lazy about thinking the easiest way to do something is to go and spend money doing something.
Yes, exactly. And with this course, takes people through the standard, looking at the spending plan. Where can you reduce expenses? How can you bring in more income? How do you pay down debt? How do you start building your savings? But from that completely holistic side of things, right? And even coming down to paying off debt, there's a couple of different ways to attack debt. What's going to feel best for you? Because as humans, we are not going to continue to do things over and over again that don't feel good. We will avoid it. I mean, let's talk about my workouts. I hope my trainer doesn't see this, but I will avoid workouts at every turn if I can, because it doesn't feel good. It's the same with money, and it's the same with the changes. Even if we don't have to do things like stop doing something, even just looking at your account on a regular basis might not feel good. But once you get into the routine of it and you start seeing the results, the motivation, you'll feel more motivated. And that's why I say very small short-term goals to keep going, just like a diet. If you've ever dieted,
it is consistency, isn't it? So many things are about consistency.
Yep, that's right.
Fantastic. Look, we are getting very close to running out of time here, because it's been such a good conversation about how we get around these money blocks and help people who have money crises in the workplace. So thank you very much for helping us out with all of your expertise in that area. But before I say goodbye to you today, I'd just like to run through a few quick fire personal things, if I may, just to give just to give the audience a little bit more around the outside of who you are and what you do and how you see the world.
Sure.
Now, one of the things that I'm doing alongside this show, music is one of my personal loves and one of my go-to things. Yes, I have to say I'm well aware that your workouts come, I think, rather more in the form of drumming than anything else than I would necessarily associate you with wanting to spend time doing. So what I'm going to ask you here is actually probably one of the most difficult questions that you'll actually have had for today. I'm going to ask you to give me 3 pieces of music which I can add to the show's playlist, which I'm curating in the background, and to share through Spotify. So first one I'm going to ask you for is an upbeat song. So, you know, a classic, what I would call a Friday night getting ready to go out song, or maybe a pre-sales call kind of song to get the vibe up and get the energy up. What would you pick there?
This is my favorite song to sing with my band right now. It's Rebel Yell. Rebel Yell.
Oh, fantastic.
How retro can you get?
Takes me back to my youth. I was thinking, actually, as you were talking about 25 years in banking, I'm thinking, yeah, that's round about the time I was doing that induction course, to be fair, with that little anecdote. So once you've done the Rebel Yell piece, something to bring you back down, calm down, chill out to, what would you go to for that?
Yeah, I love Ben Howard's Depth Over Distance. Love his voice.
Interesting. I'm not familiar with that, so I'll have to check that out, which obviously I have to do to get it into the playlist.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm looking forward to that. But what I do know is, knowing a lot of your musical taste, that's going to be a great one. And then just an all-time favourite of all time.
Ramble On, because it connects. My dad passed away about 15 years ago. Every time I hear it, it reconnects me with it. Ramble On, Led Zeppelin. It's beautiful.
Fantastic. Great choice. Okay, a couple of quick fire ones for you, and I'm going to stick with the music theme for the first one. I'm going to very much speak to you as a drummer here, but not modern day drummers, although they're still going, to be fair. So you've got to pick either Charlie Watts of the Rolling Stones or Ringo Starr of the Beatles.
Oh, Charlie Watts. Okay,
good choice. I think that's a good thing. Ringo Starr, you know, they always did one song for him on an album,
yes.
But they always wrote it so they had very few notes for him to actually deal with. It's just one of those weird musical things.
Yeah.
Summer or winter holiday? What would you pick?
Oh, summer.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Reading or sport?
Reading.
Favorite American city?
Nashville.
Now, I was going to say, I have a little piece of paper here and I've written Nashville on it because I had a sneaky suspicion that it may be.
My favorite. Some
of your Facebook entries over recent times, but fantastic. Look, thank you very much indeed for talking to us today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I look forward to talking to you in due course. We'll get the replay posted. We'll get all of your links so that people can get connected to you and can come and check out the course with you, of course, as well. So remember, everyone, profit is the business non-negotiable. It's why we do what we do as business owners from a business perspective. Of course, we want to serve, and yes, it comes back to making that impact that we all want to make. But we need profit to help us do that. So let's expand those horizons and let's get all of that done far more effectively and efficiently. Let's remember, profit gives you choices. So we'll get the replays posted over on my Facebook page at Jason A. Withers, and it will be on the Coach on Fire radio page. You can connect with me, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at Jason A. Withers. And if you'd like your audience to be exposed to more profit talk and get them more engaged with what's going on from a profit, not just a revenue perspective, then I love to speak, and through the medium of podcast or live at events. So get in touch, drop me a message through Facebook Messenger, and we can have that conversation. So it's been a really exciting show for me to do tonight. Thank you very much indeed, Meredith.
Thank you.
I look forward to joining you all on the next show, Monday the 9th of July, midday PST, 3 p.m. EST, 8 p.m. GMT. That's Monday the 9th of July. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. Checking out for now. Bye.
I can do anything. I can reach any goal today. I can do what I want. I can be what I want to be.